Today we're going to be doing constructions and angle bisectors. So the first thing you want to do is construct a starter line. And on your starter line you're going to put the point A prime, just saying that it's a copy of the original point A. Then we're going to go ahead and construct an arc on the original angle. You can choose whatever hole you want. I'm going to choose the first hole on the red section here. And then you're going to plot a point where the arc and the lines intersect, or the rays intersect. And we'll label those B and C. And then we're going to come down using this same hole that we used above and draw an arc on our starter line, centering it at A. And where the arc and the starter line intersect, we're going to label that B prime. Then we take our compass back to the original angle here, and we're going to measure from B to C. We want to find a hole that lines up. Sometimes it's a little difficult to find, but here we go. So mine's this hole right here. It's the last hole in the clear section. So I'm going to center my compass on B, and using that hole here, I'm going to draw another arc, and I want to intersect the arc that's already there. Where those two arcs intersect, we'll label that point C prime. And we're going to draw a line from A through C. So this first construction is called duplicating a line. And we call it that because we've taken the original, or duplicating an angle, and we call it because we've taken the original angle and we've made a copy of it. And so if we look at the directions on this particular problem, it says construct an angle that is twice the measure of angle A. So this is the exact same size as angle A. So we're going to use the same measurement that we used to get C. We're going to center our compass on C, and we're going to draw another arc. And where this arc intersects the line, we're going to label this D. Not D prime, because we don't have another D created. This is our first D. So we're going to draw a line from A through D. And so angle D A prime B prime is congruent to angle 2 times the angle ABC, or CAB, the original angle. The other thing we know is that angle C prime A prime B prime is congruent to angle CAB. And so that's constructing a duplicate angle, or also doubling the original angle. Our second construction is creating an angle bisector. To bisect something is to cut it in half. So we're going to take this angle here and we're going to cut it into 2 equal parts. Okay, not the same as when you cut a sandwich in half and your little brother or sister says, I want the bigger half. The 2 equal parts have to be exactly the same size when we're done. So I'm going to center my compass on A. I'm going to choose a hole. It doesn't matter which one, and we're not going to have to remember it. So I'm going to use the first red hole here, and where the arc and rays intersect each other, we'll label those 2 points B and C. Now the next time we use the compass here, we're going to have to remember which hole we used. So I'm going to center my compass on B. I'm going to choose one of the holes. The hole needs to make sure that the arc goes through the middle of this angle. Okay, so I chose the last clear hole here. I'm going to center it on C using that same hole, and don't get mixed up with the other hole that is close to the end, but I chose the one that was at the furthest from the center there. And the two arcs intersect. I label this one D, and I draw a ray. If you end up choosing a different hole the second time than the first, your construction won't go straight through the middle, and you will not have an angle bisector. So now that I've put D here, ray AD cuts angle, so is a bisector to angle CAB, which means it cuts the angle CAB in half. So the other thing we can say is that angle BAD, so BAD, this smaller one here, is congruent to angle CAB, this smaller one. So these two angles that are created from the angle bisector are congruent to each other. They're the same. Now we can use that idea and cut an angle into even smaller portions. So on this next construction here, it asks us to find an angle that is 1/4 the measure of angle H. So I'm going to come down here to angle H, and just like on my last one, I'm going to draw an arc. Use the first hole again on the red section. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You can make them larger or smaller. As long as they cross the two rays, you're okay. So I'm going to label this one I and J, just continuing off of H here. And just like on the last one here, I'm going to center my compass on I and draw an arc that has to go through the middle of the angle that's there. So center it here. I'm going to use the second one in the red section just because this angle is so big. And then I'm going to center it on J, and again I'm going to use the second hole here, and my intersection is here, and we'll label it L. And so this has cut the original angle in half, but we want 1/4. So we need to cut one of the halves in half. So I don't have to draw a new arc, but I need to center my compass on I, and I can choose a hole. I'll go ahead and continue using the second hole in the red section. It actually doesn't matter. You can pick a new one for this next part of the construction. So I'm using the second hole. I center it on L this time. Still using the second hole. And where the two arcs intersect, we'll label that M. And we're going to draw a ray from H through M. And that ray bisects the the half of the angle in half, and we get two congruent sections that are 1/4. So angle MHL is congruent to 1/4 of the original angle JHI. And that's how you bisect or take and find the fourth of an angle using an angle bisector. And this concludes our lesson on duplicating an angle and bisecting an angle.